Oh, you're beating me to the punch. Hi, welcome to the April Village of Buchanan meeting. Tonight's meeting is an organizational meeting, so there's nothing exciting happening tonight other than we're swearing in our two trustees, Cesare Pasquale and Dwayne Jackson. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And in case of emergency, please use the exit door to your right or use the stairway behind the elevator. Please do not use the elevator. Okay, first order of business, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and this is to remove item 10A from our agenda this evening. Okay, so bear with me. In our organizational meeting that we do every April, there's appointments that are done, there are different things that are done. So I am going to read first the results of the election. For trustee, two-year term, and this is District 1 and 2, Dwayne Jackson, 68, Cesare Pasquale, 82, Jeremy Basso, 1, and Mary Funchen, 1. And now I would like Linda.
I'm sorry, but why do I have different numbers than you?
I sent out a second one. You probably didn't print out the second one.
No, I just have what you gave me.
Or did I give you the wrong one?
Hold on one second.
Okay.
You good?
Gotcha. Those are
Okay.
correct?
These are correct,
Thank you.
yes. So both of our trustees ran unopposed, and those are the results. And now I would like to ask Linda, Dwayne's wife, to please come up to the podium. And I have the swearing in information there, and she will swear in trustee Jackson.
Are you dancing? What are you doing now?
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I, Dwayne Jackson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the position of,
trustee.
would you would say,
I will,
of the position of
trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Now sworn in.
Congratulations. Very good. Cesare Pasquale will be sworn in by his wife, Jackie.
I
Cesare Pasquale,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the position of,
of the position of trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you. Thank you, ladies, for doing that. And welcome back, Dwayne. Welcome back, Cesare. And would you guys like to make any comments now?
Yeah. Oh, let me get my
Okay.
glasses.
Yeah, a few words. Oh, need those glasses.
Well, I thank everyone who came out and voted for us in the village. And although, you know, the turnout wasn't large, the support was great. And I see that every day when I am around the village as a volunteer fire department person. I was covering an incident the other day, and just, people coming by and waving and, giving support. And as I've always said, that's small town America, and that's what we have here. So as we, move forward under the mayor's leadership and definitely with our involvement with Indian Point, which is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, I've always said that, Buchanan's location to the city is a selling point, and our services are a great selling point, and we will continue to make those services first class and at every level: recreation, highway, volunteer fire department, the ambulance department, all of those things in unison. We'll continue to keep the village in top shape, and look forward to the next 2 years of making sure that we continue on that path, and that we continue as a board to make decisions that are in the best interest of the citizens of the village of Buchanan. I thank you all so much for your support.
Thank you. Thank you, Dwayne. Welcome back. Cesare?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I'd like to say it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to serve this community for another 2 years. It's also an honor to work with our Mayor, Teresa, our Deputy Mayor, Rich, Dwayne, and Nick, Stephanie, and Kevin. I mean, we have a lot of work to do over the next 2 years, and it's going to be some trying times, but I believe with this board and the support of the community, we'll all come together and we'll stand up taller than we ever have. We are going to be going through some challenging times, and it's going to take a lot of work and due diligence on our part, and I'm ready for the fight. And also, I'd like to thank all of you that came out, the voters who supported us. I know it wasn't a large turnout, like Dwayne said, but it's nice to know that about the 85 or so came out and supported us. That's important to us. Buchanan's a wonderful village. I've been here for 20 years. I'll just tell a little story. And about 20 years ago, I don't know if any of you knew, but I wound up buying my brother's house. I have a twin brother, so I wound up buying his house. Well, anyway, when he was putting it up for sale, he was going to move to Cortland Manor. I remember, first thing I said to him was, "Good luck. If you need anybody to help you move, I'll help you move." And he's like, "Okay." And then within a week, I get Jackie here. It's like, "Can we buy his house?" And I'm like, "You're kidding, right?" I was a city boy my whole life, but we wound up coming through, and one of the best decisions we ever made. I love it here, and thank you all for your support. God bless all of you, and God bless the village of Buchanan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cesare.
You're welcome.
Welcome back also.
Well, thank you.
Okay, comments from the floor, agenda items only. Would anyone like to speak at this time?
Can I say something?
Sure, sure. Nick.
I think it's great that you two ran again, and I have a hard time saying congratulations since you ran unopposed. But what I really want to say is thank you to both of you, because, I mean, if you ran opposed, there would have been 4 times as many people showing up, and you still would have won. But it's really, I want to say thank you, because there's a lot of work and a lot of commitment to this, and clearly not too many people want to do it. And you guys have been, are experienced trustees and are doing a great job, and I personally want to thank you both.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Okay. There is going to be a comment section also at the end for the board. Moving on, I am appointing trustee Richard Funchen as the deputy mayor for the official year 2019 through 2020. The following appointments, official appointments, are the Assessment Review Board, Deneen Skelly. Her appointment will be till 2002. 2022, I'm sorry. I have my glasses on and I can't see still. On a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The following are annual appointments to the Planning Board. Michael Scott, his appointment will be till 2024. The chairman will be Sean Murray. Zoning Boards of Appeal, Edward Mevick until 2024. Chairman Gary Bell. Village Clerk Treasurer, the appointment is till 2020, Kevin Hay. We hope he stays longer than that. Village Deputy Clerk, Cindy Kempter, who is in the audience. Secretary to Zoning Board and Secretary to the Planning Board is Rosemary Martin. Village Attorney, Stephanie Porteous. Associate Village Judge, Dan O'Neill. Court Clerk, part-time, Michelle Scalfani. Secretary Board of Trustees, Sue Matthews. Recreation Supervisor, part-time, Nancy Bayer. We do have an open position here for the Senior Citizen Director. Our director retired. His name's Gabe DeRubo, and we're going to have a party for him this month at Village Hall. So we need to fill that position. The problem is, it's a civil service position, and there's certain requirements. There are people that are interested, but once again, it's a civil service position, and there's certain requirements to fill that. Caretaker, we are currently going to be looking for a caretaker. We were notified this evening that our part-time caretaker is retiring. Building Inspector, Anthony Conti. Village Engineer, Han Engineering. Village Planner, F.P. Clark. Representative for the Senior Citizens Advisory Council, that's another position that's open at this time. Liaison to the St. Patrick's Day Parade, Richard Funchen. Representative to the Historic Hudson River Towns, Richard Funchen. Fire Inspector, Joe Chopiak. On a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So the following members of the Board of Trustees are appointed to the following committees for the official year 2019 to 2020. Administrative is an entire board, and assessment is entire board, auditing entire board, business development entire board. Education, Dwayne Jackson. Infrastructure, Teresa Knickerbocker. Legislative, entire board. Parks Recreation, Nicholas Zachary. Public Safety, Cesare Pasquale. And Veterans, Dwayne Jackson. And there's no vote on that. Those are my committee appointments. So now, please bear with me. There's certain things that I have to read that go into the record. This is to establish meeting dates, special meeting procedures, and adoption of the rules of procedure and the open meetings law. 1, regular meetings. Pursuant to Section 4-4112 of the Village Law, the regular meetings of the Board of Trustees to be held on the first Tuesday of each month, commencing at 7:30. Where holiday shall fall on the day of a meeting, the meetings will be held the next day following the holiday. The meeting shall take place at the municipal building. The Board of Trustees workshop meeting is to be held on the fourth Tuesday of each month, commencing at 7:30, also at the municipal building. Special meetings will be held when matters of business warrant and shall be called by either the mayor or 2 of the trustees of the Village of Buchanan acting together. In the event of a special meeting being called by the mayor, every member of the Board of Trustees shall be informed by telephone by the village clerk or another member of the Board of Trustees of date, time, location, and subject of the special meeting. And unless the meeting is called to respond to an emergency concerning the safety and welfare of the village, notice of the meeting shall be given to the trustees and newspapers and posted on the village notice boards at least 72 hours in advance of the meeting and otherwise in conformance with the Public Officers Law. Quorum. A quorum shall be required to conduct business. A quorum of 5 members, Board of Trustees shall be 3. In the absence of a quorum, a lesser number may adjourn and compel the attendance of absent members. Executive sessions shall be held in accordance with the New York State Public Officers Law, Section 105. All executive sessions shall be commenced at a public meeting. Voting. Pursuant to village law, each member of the board shall have 1 vote. The mayor may vote on any matter, but must vote in case of a tie. A majority of the totally authorized voting power is necessary to pass the matter unless otherwise specified by state law. An abstention, silence, or absence shall be considered a negative vote for the purpose of determining the final vote on a matter. Guidelines for public comment. The public shall be allowed to speak only during the public comment period of the meeting or at such other time as the presiding officer shall allow. Speakers may step up to the front of the room and speak in the microphone. Speakers must give their name, address, and organization represented, if any. Speakers must be recognized by the presiding officer. Speakers must limit their remarks to 3 minutes on a given topic and may be recognized again by the presiding officer after other speakers have had an opportunity to speak. Speakers may not yield any remaining time they may have to another speaker. Board members may, with the permission of the mayor, interrupt the speaker during their remarks, but only for the purpose of clarification or information. All remarks shall be addressed to the presiding officer. Speakers shall observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste, which include refraining from offensive, insulting, and threatening speech directed toward any person present or not present. Interested parties or the representatives may address the board with written communications. Written communication shall be delivered to the village administrator/clerk. Open meeting laws. Pursuant to the Public Officers Law, the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the requirements of the open meeting law and hereby adopts the notice requirements of the Public Officers Law as the official procedure of the Board of Trustees. The next organizational meeting will be held on April 7th, 2020, so please mark that in your calendars. Set date for public hearing on tentative village budget. Pursuant to Section 5508 of the Village Law, the public hearing on the 2019-2020 tentative budget will be April 9, 2019 at 7:30 at Village Hall, which is next Tuesday. Designate village depositories. Pursuant to Section 4-412 of the Village Law, that the J.P. Morgan Chase, 2003 Albany Post Road, Croton-on-Hudson, and also the J.P. Bank in Peekskill, New York, and Orange Bank and Trust Company, 2141 Compound, Cortlandt Manor, be designated as the depository of the Village of Buchanan, and that funds of the village be deposited in said bank and be subject to the withdrawals upon checks, notes, drafts, bills of exchange, acceptances, undertakings, or other orders for the payment of money when signed on behalf of the village by the following officers: Mayor, myself, Teresa Knickerbocker, Village Clerk, Treasurer, Kevin Hay. Designate official village newspaper, whereas in the opinion of the Board of Trustees of the aforesaid village, the Journal newspaper is hereby designated as the official newspaper of the Village of Buchanan. To establish mileage allowance, whereas the Board of Trustees has determined to pay a fixed rate for mileage as reimbursement to village officers and employees who use their personal automobiles while performing their village duties. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Board of Trustees will approve reimbursement to such officers' employees at the rate of 58 cents per mile. Kevin, is that the federal standard, the 58 cents? Okay, thank you. Adopting the village procurement policy, whereas the mayor and board of trustees of the Village of Buchanan are required to adopt or formulate certain policies and procedures regarding procurements by the village, and whereas the village has previously adopted a procurement policy in conformance with all New York State laws and in conformance with the Office of the State Controller, and the board desires that policy to remain in effect, the procurement policy now is in effect, once again, adopted as a procurement policy of the Village of Buchanan. Authorizing officers and employees of the village to attend conferences and seminars, whereas General Municipal Law 77-B authorizes municipal officials and employees to attend schools, conferences, seminars, etc., conducted for the benefit of the local government with prior approval of the Board of Trustees, and the mayor and the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan have determined that is in the best interest of the village and its residents that officers and employees of the village from time to time attend conferences and seminars of public employees and officials for educational and training and other similar purposes. It is therefore resolved that the officers and employees are hereby authorized to attend the following schools, conferences, seminars, etc. NICOM's annual meeting and training school, NICOM's fall training school for fiscal officers and municipal clerks, NICOM's election seminar, New York State Controller's Advanced Accounting course, New York State City County Management Association Annual Conference and Fall Training Seminar, Westchester Municipal Planning Federation seminars, Westchester County Firearms and Deadly Physical Force Training, that's not for the board, and Westchester County Police Academy Basic In-Service Training. So, on a motion,
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for bearing with me, but we do this every year, and that gets read into the record. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go last today. Any comments, any other comments from board members?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'd like to thank the mayor for her confidence in me as deputy mayor. It's been a pleasure to work with, and I can really assure the village, everybody in the village, that never anybody more hardworking than Teresa. She's constantly going to meetings, and she constantly puts this village ahead of herself, and is doing the right thing in everything she does, because to her, the village comes first. And I want to thank you for that, Teresa. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I thank you for your confidence in me. Also, I just want to shout out appreciation to all the women on the St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee who set up the party, set up the parade, and then had a very nice party here for the seniors who were the grand marshals of the parade. Finally, just everybody enjoy Easter and Passover. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. And
Oh, just one other thing. I'd like to congratulate the two people, too, who just got elected. And it slipped my mind. It has been a pleasure working with everybody here on the board and with Kevin and Stephanie. It's a very productive group, and I want the people in Buchanan to realize that we are always going to do the right thing by this village. And we are putting the people in this village first. Thank you.
all right. Thank you, Rich. Nick, do you have anything for us tonight?
Really nothing else. I just think I said what I wanted to before.
Okay. All right, thank you. I have a few things. I really want to thank the whole board. We don't always agree, but that's okay. We don't have to agree. But I can actually tell everyone, every person on this board does not have an agenda to do anything other than what's in the best interest of this village. So for that reason especially, I mean, this is a great board that I have worked with, and we face challenges ahead. And it's going to be a bumpy road there for a while. It'll smooth out eventually, but you know, we come from different backgrounds, different experiences, so, but the best thing is that everything is, any decision we make is what's ever in the village's best interest. So I'm very lucky to work with a board like that. I have a few comments. I have certain announcements. Nick, I want to thank you for meeting with the Department of Transportation last week. He sat down and talked to him about some issues we had. And one of the most important things, we did put this in the newsletter, but I don't think everybody understands, as I'm out talking to people, meeting people at the post office, the Albany Post Road is not our road. So the Albany Post Road is a New York State road. They have told us, and as they told Nick too at the meeting, that sometime in the middle of June, starting from Welcher Avenue through Buchanan, that road will be completely repaved. So just bear with us a little bit longer. It has been budgeted. It's marked to do. So I know the road's in terrible shape, but it's going to be beautiful once it's done. So we thank the state for doing that, because tough to get a buck out of some people sometimes here. Buchanan Engine, I want to mention that Remembrance Day is April 28th at 2 p.m. They always do a great ceremony for people who, their members who have passed. We mentioned the budget hearing. April 6th is the annual Easter egg hunt. That's always fun, and that will be at the pavilion at 11 o'clock. And I understand the Easter Bunny will be there this year. Normally at this meeting, I do something called the State of the Village. I am compiling some more information, so I'm not going to get into the State of the Village tonight, but it's a special meeting Thursday, May 2nd at 7:30 and I'd like as many people to come. You can ask me questions. I'm going to go over some projections, some thoughts and ideas of potential other ways to save money. So that will all be out on May 2nd, and I have no problem answering any questions or taking comments from the floor. I'm interested to understand what the village residents are thinking. One other thing, that this is something happened last Thursday, and I really think, and I'm not going to take a long time discussing this, something was on News 12, something was on FiOS 1, something in the paper. Last Thursday, I had a press conference here at Village Hall announcing that I was forming a citizens advisory panel for the decommissioning of Indian Point. I felt it was necessary to do that. I am the chairman of that. Supervisor Puglisi is the vice chairperson, I should say. Let's be politically correct, Teresa. And why we're doing this is during the process, and this is, I feel very strongly about this. When it was announced that Indian Point was being closed, we were not in the process of that. We were so removed. I found out, and the employees over at Indian Point found out, that the plant was closing through a New York Times article. So going forward, the decommissioning process is, it's a lengthy process, and I wanted our community to be upfront and really be involved in this and not be a second thought. So when the closing was announced, we were not one of the 3 people in the room. This community was not thought about. We were just, that was it. So I was determined that we weren't going to be left out this time. So I will read to you what the community advisory panel is. And it's a panel that's, the function is it's an advisory capacity only. And we have no role in directing the decommissioning or related work at Indian Point. We will advise or recommend things to Indian Point, to Entergy, and to the NRC. But the most important thing that needs to be understood, the NRC is in control of the decommissioning process. So what this panel is going to do, like I said, we're going to make recommendations. We're going to be watching what's going on over there. We're going to be the eyes, ears, and the voices of the community. And so we can make recommendations, which is important. I've modeled this after 2 other communities that have gone through the decommissioning process. So most of the people on this are area elected officials, elected officials in the emergency planning zone. I've included Assemblywoman Sandy Galiff, Senator Harcum, the Westchester County legislator for the local area, the Westchester County exec. We've included our neighbors, Rockland, Putnam, representative from the governor's office, 2 representatives from the local unions here, representative from the Verplank Fire District. There will be residents from the Village of Buchanan involved. There'll be residents from the town of Cortland involved, and 2 individuals with environmental or scientific expertise appointed jointly by myself and the supervisor. So this is what I want to tell you. So at the meeting, when we were announcing it, the anti-nuclear people were here. And you know what, we want to hear, we're going to foster people's comments from the floor. But the anti-nuclear people were not happy with this formation of this panel because they felt that they should be the ones setting up a citizens oversight board. We felt that since what had transacted with the plant closing, with us not being involved, with us not being informed, with us not having a say in shutting the plant down, we felt that we weren't going to be represented. So the meeting got ugly, not on our part, but there were comments that came from the floor. So this is going to be an emotional time going forward, not only, for the residents and, think about it, the whole, our neighbors are affected too. We're all affected by this, but we, of course, are affected more. So I just thought it was important that the Village of Buchanan was very in the forefront of this with this decommissioning process. So things are going to be said, and unfortunately, I'm disappointed in that, and I was cornered in the hallway, and I was interrogated, and it was not a pleasant experience, but I'm not going to back down. This village, I'm an elected official here in this village. I represent the community. These people who wanted to form this are not residents. Some of them don't even live in this area. So that's really what our job on this board is. One of the biggest jobs is to protect the community. And we are not going to allow these attacks and things like that. So just know going forward, that's going to be another bumpy road. But we've got a lot to do. We've got a lot of work to do. But just know this board will always do whatever's in the best interest of this village, and this board will protect this village going forward. I will let you know, our first meeting for the Citizens Advisory Panel will be sometime in the beginning of June. And it will be local. The local union on McKinley Street has offered us to use their building there. So the meetings will be taped, the meetings will be recorded, there'll be actual, the ladies in the office will have a pile of papers with the meetings, the meeting minutes. So I just felt it was in our best interest that we were very involved in this. Because nobody's worried about us other than, ourselves. And we also, with our neighbors too. So we're all going to work together. It's a good group that I've put together. And we will keep you informed as we go along. There's different things that we have to inform people, so I'll just tell you quickly. Whatever the money is in there for the decommissioning fund, we will let everyone know what's in there, because that's an important amount of money to have in there, because if there's not enough, they can't start the decommissioning. There's been an announcement by the president of Entergy by the end of this year. They'll be ready to announce what they have said, a transaction. So what I'm understanding the transaction is that they will be selling to a decommissioning after Unit 2 is closed in 2021. So there's a lot going on. We want to keep the public informed, and we want to be part of the process. So that's why this Citizens Advisory Panel was formed. Okay. Does anyone else have any other comments?
Yeah, I actually forgot to reach out to the board. I'll just mention it now. Kevin and I walked with the two people from the DOT to look at the parking situation on 9A and propose what we wanted to do. They gave us some good advice. There's a couple of decisions to be made, and to be familiar with this at the next workshop, it would be best to walk that site, which I will do with anybody that wants to. We can only go with me and one other person, otherwise it's an illegal meeting if it's a quorum. So if any one person would like, I mean, I could reach out to you guys, or you could just reach out to me, and we'll find a time, whether it's a weekend morning or evening, whatever, just go over there for a few minutes, and I'll show you what the areas and the questions are, and what we're proposing, and what some of the suggestions from the DOT were. Yeah, we'd have to go one at a time, so anybody that wants to do it, just reach out to me. Okay. Otherwise, at the meeting, you'll just sort of be a little in the dark.
All right, good. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Any other comments from the board? Okay, comments from the floor. Any comments from the floor this evening? Oh, thank you, Eileen.
Eileen Absinger, 138 Tate Avenue. Thank you, Teresa.
You're wrecking the joint.
They don't
And
make
the
them like
board.
they used to.
I just want to know, will this also include, if they don't get those 2,000 kilowatts, what will happen with that plant, even if Entergy says we don't want to keep it open? Will that be part of this advisory? Can they be made to stay open?
Yes, they can. There is an agreement. Here's.
Not by us.
No, not by us. We can't, yeah.
No, I know,
It's
but
an
I
agreement
didn't
with the
figure
state.
that, no.
Here's the big problem. This is where we get to the crux of it. You have to order, they have to order that fuel at least a year in advance. So so it would have to be next year that they would have to order for 3. There was an agreement, the license is extended to 2024 in case, because the state had a buffer, in case of a war, which we don't want, and in case that there was no replacement power. So, there is an agreement, the state made an agreement with them that they would stay open if that in fact was the case, but let's remember too that it takes over a year really to order the new fuel. So next year, the first one goes, so they would have to order the fuel now. I don't know what the status of that is.
Okay, because the plants that are projected to pick this up are not anywhere near, nor do they have permits. There's a lot of snafus and a lot of adverse reaction to this. So this...
Well, we've been assured by the State Public Service Commission, that there would be enough power, but I hear what you're saying too, and some of the environmentalists said that the way we could reach these goals is by conservation.
Right. Okay. No,
I don't know, I
wanted to
kind of like my air conditioning in the summer, and I kind of
Well, I
like the
don't have
heat
air
on, but...
conditioning, but that's beside the point. But I just wondered what would happen if that's, because that's got to be another piece of this whole advisory board, through the NRC or whoever is going to instruct them that they must stay open.
Yeah, that's an agreement they made with the state.
Okay.
So this advisory board is really more focused on the decommissioning and everything that goes on, the whole process and the different steps as we go through the different steps. And we're very supportive of having our local union people to be part of that, to do the decommissioning instead of bringing outside people in. And I'm a huge proponent of that, because the people, these unions that they've worked there, they've built that plant, who better knows the plant than our local unions?
Right.
So, we will be proponents of that too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Eileen.
John Mattis, Tate Avenue. First of all, congratulations to you two. I was out of town, but I watched the film of that whole meeting. It's over a half an hour long. And anybody that wants to see it, it's on Facebook. It's an anti-nuclear group. Tape the whole thing and just look it up under SENRG. And I was very disturbed at the end. It was conducted very nicely, and then a woman asked to comment and she made some derogatory comments about the whole commission and that they should have been doing it and the politicians shouldn't be involved. But of course, the politicians are the representatives of the people. And then from the audience, one woman, and I'm going to say her name, Marion Ely. She's an antagonistic anti-nuke from years gone by, and she never goes away. And she got very antagonistic, and Teresa had something to say in return, and you handled it very professionally. And then Linda Puglisi, the vice chairman, got up and was very professional also, and even said, Marilyn, I've known you for a number of years and I respect you. And I was shocked to hear Marion Ely say, but I don't respect you. That's the kind of person you're dealing with. But I shouldn't have been surprised, because this is the same woman that ran for county legislature back in 2001, and shortly after the 9/11 attack, she was quoted as saying, the way we treat the Middle East, we got what we deserved. And this woman wants to be on a committee like that. She has no place being anywhere. And you handled yourself very well, and so did Supervisor Puglisi, and I commend you both for that.
Thank you. Yeah, the meeting got a little contentious. And I know you mentioned politician, but I like to look at myself as a public servant, not a politician. So I know that was what they were saying about us, but no, we're all public servants here. This is not Washington DC. Any other comments from the floor? No? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Congratulations once again. Dwayne and Cesare, welcome. Welcome, Cheech. Thanks. Thank you, everyone, and have a great Buchanan Day. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm rushing the meeting. On a motion, this is why Rich always keeps me in line. On a motion to close?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Have
Aye.
a great Buchanan Day. Thanks.